Hi, welcome everybody, it's Mike Newton back in the fitting studio here at Lytham Golf Academy. I've got a head-to-head here for you today with two forged irons, and these are two very popular irons that we find here through our fittings in the studio. First one is the Srixon Z565 Iron. Okay, so as many of you know, Srixon produce some really quality irons here. They've come back into the European market about 2.5–3 years ago, and they're making a real big hit. Very good quality set of golf clubs here, and the 565 model is the most forgiving out of the three models that they offer. Okay, forged, but it is the most forgiving out of their forged offerings. And I'm going to put that against the Mizuno's JPX900 Forged. Okay, so again, Mizuno, make phenomenal irons. You know, the quality of them are fantastic. Now the JPX900 Forged sits in the middle of the JPX family that they offer. The hot metal is the biggest, most forgiving, but isn't forged. So this is where I thought these two are probably more of a like-to-like comparison here. So both these irons are forged, as I've just said, but both of them offer a bit of forgiveness behind them in terms of there's a pocket underneath this cavity here on both of these irons. So that's pulling weight away from the club face. There's a lot of perimeter weighting in the head here, so it's giving us a real good forgiveness on mishits, but at the same time we're getting that nice look behind the golf ball at address. Okay, not as thin a top line as you'll get in the smaller irons, but it is still a very nice look, but we're getting the feel of the forged. And that really ticks a lot of boxes for many golfers we find through the fitting process here at the Academy. A lot of guys do want the forgiveness. They like that forgiveness, so on the days when they're not on it, they're missing the strikes, they get that little bit of help from the golf club. But also get guys who like the neat look. They like that soft forged feel, okay? And this sort of gives them a bit of all of that, basically, which is why these two models are very popular through our fittings. So, I'm going to put these head to head. I've got them both in modus shafts, both 1/2 inch longer, both 2 degrees upright, and both these lofts and these 6 irons are 27 degrees. So this is a really fair test here, so it'll be really interesting to see some differences, if there is any differences of launch, spin, and maybe a little bit of different distances, and maybe give you guys a little bit of feedback as to which one you might go out there and sort of test yourselves. Okay, so we're going to start off with the Mizuno JPX900 Forged. So I think I've done a review of this on my channel already. If I have, I will pop this up on a link here for you to go and have a little look at. But it's as I say, it's a really popular iron. I think it sits fantastic behind the golf ball there. It does look quite large to me from heel to toe, so it looks like a long blade here, but quite a neat top edge, very little offset there, and I quite like the finish on it. It's like a sort of satin sort of finish on it. So it's not high gloss finish, chrome finish. So let's give this one a hit. Yeah, it feels really nice. Definitely, as I would expect to feel a forged iron, that soft feel, especially from Mizuno. Okay, so here's a second shot hit there, just a little bit of fade there. Good strike though. That one's carrying out at 185. Really does feels fantastic. I do like the look of this, I do like the feel of it. Feels like I could really put that into play. Yeah, it feels fantastic. Really nice flight. Flight's everything I would sort of want to see there. It's, it's fairly high there. It feels solid, it feels soft, it feels like you can manoeuvre the golf ball there. Liking the look of it. Numbers look pretty good, which we'll have a look at in a minute. Okay, so I've hit forward that. I'm going to flick over to the Srixon Z565 and then we'll check some numbers out. Right, okay, so I've got the Srixon 565 in my hands here. So again, very similar head design here with that pocket in that cavity in the back. Slightly wider sole here, but still forged. And still a fairly decent look, or neutral classic look as we look at it down by the golf ball. So as I put that down, probably the biggest thing I see here is a slightly thicker top edge against the Mizuno. Okay, that's the first thing that stands out. It's not chunky like you'd expect maybe more game improvement irons, but it's definitely a little bit thicker than that Mizuno there, and the length of the blade isn't as long from the heel to the toe, so it looks a little bit more sort of a squat, compact sort of head, but is a slightly thicker top line. Now some of you may look at that and think, or me personally think, it gives me a little bit of confidence because I see the thicker top line, it feels like I've got a bit more sort of meat behind the club, if that makes sense. So it gives me that bit of confidence that I have got a bit of forgiveness there. Okay, but very little offset again, so in terms of that, it looks very nice, a bit more polished on the edges here, apart from where the grooves are, which does give it that classic sort of look. Yeah, that feels great. It feels very easy to clip away. Again, very similar bore flight we're seeing there to the Mizuno. So here was the second shot with the Srixon. Again, another nice flight there, just a little bit of a draw, but again, feels good. Nice bit of distance there, carrying out at 194. Yeah, feels really solid, that. I'm going to say it probably doesn't feel quite as soft as the Mizuno. Okay, it's not much in it, but I think the Mizuno just feels that little bit softer. So if you like something that feels really soft, I think the Mizuno might just edge it. But I'm not saying that the Srixon obviously isn't soft. It does feel soft. Let's give this one last hit. Yeah, feels really easy to hit that. As I say, that slightly thicker top edge there fills me with a little bit of confidence. It launches very easily there. It feels very forgiving, but so does the Mizuno. So let's have a look at some numbers and see if there's any differences there on launch, spin, distance, and hopefully give you a little bit of feedback. Okay, let's have a look at some numbers. So some very similar numbers here. So we're going to start with club head speeds. You see club head speed very similar, which you'd sort of expect. Ball speed pretty much identical there, which is quite interesting. Efficiency is exactly the same. Launch pretty much identical there. Side spin maybe a little bit more drawy with the Srixon against the Mizuno, but not a lot in it. Spin wise, about 230, 240 revolutions less spin with the Srixon. Okay. So, and that's probably come because I've hit a couple more draws with that than I did with the Mizuno. Why that happened, it wasn't intentional. Maybe just the setup of the club just looked like I could, just could produce more draws with that. I don't know. But as you know, when you sort of draw the golf ball, it'll produce less spin than if you were just sort of hitting little fades with it. So that's probably where that difference of spin has actually come from. It's not come from loft, because the loft's the same. I'm launching it pretty much the same, the speed's the same. Okay, it's probably just the left to right sort of spin that's changed there, which is gives us a slight difference of spin number there, but again, hardly anything really. Looking at distance number, 191 average with the Mizuno, 193 with the Srixon. Again, that's probably just come because of that little bit less spin, but that's more come from because I hit some draws with it. So all in all, I would say they are identical sort of numbers really. Okay, so there's our little head-to-head there with the Mizuno JPX900 Forged against Srixon's Z565. Okay, numbers for me are not splitting it at all. There's nothing on there that will say, yeah, I'll go for that or I'll go for that. They are pretty much, I don't think I've ever had any numbers as similar there on a test before. So nothing splitting it between it in regards to numbers from the launch monitor. Now what probably would influence this is the looks, because the looks are slightly different here, and also the feel. Okay, now if I'm going to go feel, I'll probably say the Mizuno is just edging it. Now I play Srixon myself, I play the 7 model, I love them, don't get me wrong, I do love them. But if we're just going to pure feel, I've got to say the Mizuno's probably just edging it there in terms of that softer feel. Now that's a personal thing, Some guys have come in, they don't like the softer feel, they prefer the more slightly harder feel, so it feels more explosive off the club face. But in terms of feel, slightly softer Mizuno, that would just edge it for me. In terms of the looks, again, it's a very tough one to split it. I don't mind that slightly thick edge on the 565 Srixon. The Mizuno does look a little bit more of a slither of a metal. Having said that, it's obviously not like a blade there, so both are delivering a lot of forgiveness there. Oh, I tell you what, it's tough. I like them both equally as much on, even though they're slightly different, I do like both looks of both irons there, so I couldn't really split it that way. So I tell you what, that would be a real tough one. If I was in a buying, purchasing environment and fitting like this, looked at those numbers, nothing splitting it, looking at looks, love them both. Feel, Mizuno, would that influence me to buy it? I tell you what, that would be a tough decision. I wouldn't like to make that decision. I think all in all here, from this test, two cracking irons here, two really well performing golf clubs. Again, it's all about getting fit in the right shaft, the right length, the right lie, with a good fitter, on a good launch monitor. That is key here, and that may start to see some differences of your performance in terms of numbers there. But if you look at this sort of bracket, want the forge, want the forgiveness, like the look, or you want that neater sort of classic look, definitely go out and give these two a try. Mizuno JPX Forged 900 against Srixon Z565. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please do comment down below if you've got any questions about that test there, or if you've got these sets, or you want me to try these against maybe any other clubs out what we've got here. Do comment down below. Please do subscribe. I'll put a link up there. Hit the subscribe button. It's free. Join me. You'll get notified of all my future videos, and hopefully we'll catch you all very soon.